I probably should do this, but you know what? I'm gonna explain just about everything. So I've black bordered a lot of maps, I will say that, and so therefore I kind of want to go through and just talk about practically just every black border I've ever gotten, which is every beginner map. A lot of the well, some of them I don't have chimps on yet, but like a lot of the black borders here, you know, all of these maps and everything, they're all, I can explain all of them, you know, pretty much well. A lot of the maps that don't have chimps I can still talk about. Every one of these maps I have played so much, it's just like I kind of have an idea of how they're all running. This one I still have a game going with. It's just a little bit of a apocalypse. I'm currently getting my ass beat with those, but the whole general gist is like a lot of these maps, once you start playing them and you start getting into like the hard and everything, they're not that difficult because you usually have a strategy for them. The more difficult ones are usually where it specifies particular towers, or maybe it, like half cash, for example, which is fuck your income. That's really about it. So I'm gonna go through and kind of just explain all of them, and I'll kind of and I don't know if I should do all of them at once, but you know, fuck it, I'm gonna do all of them at once. So I'm just gonna go out and just say a lot of these beginner maps are pretty simple. They're pretty easy. They're pretty basic. You can black border these. You practically with the same strategy. Your placement might be a little different, but it's essentially the same thing. Like I did all of these, every single one of these. I'm not even joking. With a Flash Bomb Ninja, Prince of Darkness, and Spirit of the Forest. That's the only towers I needed. I got those three down. Well, it was more of a sticky bomb, not the flash bomb. It was just an extra $5,000, but it's not much. But I did all that for every single one of these. Those three towers got me through everything. And then afterwards, you get like a sniper and Apache, and that you're done. You're good. And of course, you can use whatever hero. I use usually either Quincy or Salda for a lot of them. But I'll go into more detail in like later videos. I don't know. But right now, what is it? So, I can't keep getting lost for fucking words. So, Monkey Meadow, sorry, in the loop, middle of the road, all these, pretty basic. Like, a lot of the, you can see too, a lot of the tracks usually either have this focal point, where you can kind of just focus all your towers at, and it makes it simpler. Either that, or it usually loops around itself, kind of like with a tree stump, where there's like this whole loop, and then you can either have the tree stump here, where you can have all your focus hitting up here, or you can focus your whole defense around here, so that way it hits two areas at the same time. Town center is the same way. You can focus it all in the middle. I don't want to click on it, but all in the middle, or you can focus all on the sides, so if any of the bones go up here, they're gonna come back. Only maps that kind of aren't like that, like the straight path where there's no meeting, is like 1-2 tree, but it kind of makes up because every single one of these plots of land, except that first one, buffs your towers regardless. Even though it might restrict what type of tower you can put, it's still buffing your towers. And even with like middle of the road, if there's like buildings or something in the way, there's usually a vantage point, like that water tower there, that usually gives you some sort of like saying like, hey, put your tower here, like a sniper, and you can see the whole map regardless. Scrapyard, kind of the same thing. Those boxes you can see practically map wide, except past the little crusher here, which by the way actually will crush balloons. Skates, pretty flat area. You can remove the little huts here. Lotus Island and the cabin are, well, Lotus Island really is just like the flowers can stun, and you have the vantage point in the middle. The cabin, that car is removable, but you don't really need to remove it because all your defense is gonna be focused on like right here or right here. Resort, your whole focus is here, and you use this whole plot like all down here for farms. Candy Falls is a little bit of an interesting situation. You can probably just scrunch up boats in the middle, or you can scrunch up your defense, like your land towers here, where like the mouse is pointing at, and usually do pretty well. Winter Park, obviously, your whole defense can be in the middle, and then they just shred everything around. Alpine Run, the whole defense is here. My whole defense was here. I didn't really have a problem with it. Carved, it took me so long to figure out the little boiling pot over here can actually hold a sub or like a Buccaneer. Frozen Over, cute little cave monkey there that you can actually break out. Not much of an issue there. Your whole defense is on like this ice pack here. Cubism is the easiest thing on the planet. Park Path, your whole defense is either like right here, or if you want water towers, you can have a Buccaneer that covers just about all of this, like the whole middle. 4 circles, the whole defense is in the middle. You can do all that. Hedge is a little different. So you even have your whole defense in the back, in the front here, or you have your whole defense in the back. I don't really see many people smacking towers in the middle. I don't really see it. End of the road, you can have your defense here, and then, or if you're going for a water-based defense, like in military only, for example, it'll be here. There's a little tighter of a crunch because the balloons have less of a path to travel to get away from you. But at the same time, with how powerful the water towers are, it's pretty simple. And then for logs, I'm not even kidding, you can solo easy, medium, hard, and probably impoppable as well, with a little bit of buffs on impoppable though. You can solo it with the Pirate Lord. I'm not kidding. You can do that. If you want to give it an alch buff on easy, medium, or hard, just for extra pleasure, hey, go for it. All right. The only ones you're not gonna be able to use it for are primary only and magic only. In which case, for primary only, no joke, just use what's the tower? Just use the boomerang, and then anytime use the boomerang with your free dart monkey. And then for magic only, you can use a ninja with the alch buff, and then just get a druid. That's it for that. And all these beginner maps, I'm not even joking, probably took, it was pretty light shit. It was pretty easy. Water Park was a little bit of a weird situation because you're kind of just like focusing everything like right about here on the slide, or you can focus it to where you have like one defense for one side. If you know like a lead are coming down, I think the lead came down the actual slide itself, and then there was like some weird rounds, like round 63 or around 55. All the ceramic rushes seemed to come down the lazy river. So you wanted one defense focused on like rushes, while another defense was focused more on iron popping power, lead popping power, like dealing with those type of balloons for the first time. You know, the Camo balloon round 24, lead round 28. You know, Moab 40. Every new type of Moab is 40, 60, 80, 90 even for DDTs, and then 100 for the bad. Yeah, Corey was. You can focus a defense kind of like towards the middle, and then they can hit any balloons that might get past. The sniper was mainly put on top so it sees the whole thing. You could have a sub on the bottom with ballistic missile, because the ballistic missile itself doesn't care about obstacles. It can still hit anywhere. It doesn't need a range because the ballistic missile just fires as long as the sub is supposed to see where it's supposed to go. Quiet Street was not too bad. The 2 lanes coming around, it's kind of a weird situation with the Moab lane in the middle. You literally just focus on like these 2 sides, so that way you're not really worried about like the middle here, unless you want all your balloons crunched up together and then your tower is trying to take all that out. Polyphemus, I don't know how to pronounce this map, but it's essentially the same thing as Quiet Street, except the Moab lane is shared with the track, and it's just like, you know, it's pretty basic. This little puddle, every like round that ends in 6, it'll shut, and then you have to pay for it to open back up. But giving it, you know, camo detection and all that stuff is pretty nice. Covered Garden made me want to smash my fucking desk. I'm gonna say it. This map was like, it's a community made map, so you already know it's going to piss you off beyond belief. But this fucking map, I'm not gonna hate it, but I genuinely dislike it in the sense that it pissed me off. It's still an awesome map, but my god, fuck this map. Bonarius Prime, kind of a weird situation because you can either focus the whole defense here, right, and you can kind of just sit there, or you can just like share the 2 water puddles and then just use like a split water base, or like a water like defense. You can do that. Balance is easy as shit. Just literally have the Spirit of the Forest in the middle, or Sada, or Ring of Fire, whichever one you wanted. Adora's Temple, kind of the same situation. Encrypted, yeah, there's a focal point there for a lot of these maps too. Spring, you can either have your water defense in the back, or you have something in the front that tries to take it out before it escapes. Carts and Darts is pretty simple. just like on top or bottom. I don't really like buying the stuff. Bazaar, it's I'm not gonna say much more. Moon landing is pretty basic. Firing range is surprisingly easier than you think, because all that space for farming is just so good. Cracked, you don't even have to buy the little stone there. Haunted isn't that bad either. You can do it. You mainly do a water defense in the middle. Downstream, you can play it like a beginner map. It's just a little less track. That's about it. Stream bed is the same thing. Exact same thing. Shoot and rake are kind of similar because you have to buy something to get really like a hold of the focal point. The only thing I'll say about rake though is that the tracks being like different lengths when it comes to like meeting this middle point, your towers are gonna actually target the ones going down. I think it's either here or coming up here. They're gonna target that more than the other ones, so it allows balloons to escape more. So if I had to say anything, have defense that's gonna mainly be for this top here, or another defense that's gonna be for this. It's easier on reverse than it is on or is it the other way around? It's one of the two. Spice Islands is pretty simple. Just use a water bit thing the whole time. Dark Path was an interesting take on Park Path, except it wasn't really that difficult. You can remove some of the stuff and like move it like that, and you know, just all that stuff, make more space and everything. But you can really just use like towers that you plop on here, and then you use a heli pilot. Erosion, I'm kind of not done with yet, but it's still. I like the map. Community made map as well, by the way. Community, you know, inspired. It won the Reddit competition. I kind of like the spiel of it. It seems really cool. However, when your defense suddenly breaks away from the ice, and then you're left with round 36 like pink crushes coming to fuck your defense. Yeah, it kind of is like, oh, okay. Midnight Mansion, not too bad. Sunken Columns, I'm currently got to do half cash on. That's how a lot of them I have to do half cash, because God, I hate half cash. X Factor, not too bad. Mesa's not bad either. You can have a focal point usually in the middle. Geared is a different situation. You want to use towers that like have unlimited range or air, which is crazy because there's a challenge for or a quest that has you do literally anything but use those air or unlimited space towers. Spillway is a weird situation because you can fit a tower there, and then everything else is just support to like just hammer this middle. Cargo's not too bad. Pat's Pond, yeah, not too bad either. It's not terrible. Peninsula is essentially, how do I like explain? Peninsula is not bad. It really isn't. Peninsula is more so just, you know, it's meh, you know. It's mainly water defense, and if you want some land defense, you can put a little bit there, but that land defense is not hitting that whole track, except this top part if you want a sniper. But even then, it may not be worth it. High Finance. High Finance is like, there's a track here and a track here, just focus on the middle. And it's kind of similar to Cornfield over here, where you have to kind of like buy your spots to play, like your play stuff on. That's really the whole gimmick. Except Cornfield is on a more extreme note, because there's literally like, I think it's like $6,000-7,000 worth of stuff you have to buy. As of High Finance, every space that you buy is essentially a vantage point. So you kind of have to understand that every is a vantage point. While there's no vantage point here, you're just buying everything for the sake of space. Another break, you don't really need to buy the breaks over here. All your defense can be planted here. It seems like this over here is just extra like farm space, or if it's not going to be used for farm space, it's like maybe an engineer to like overclock, but you don't want the engineer popping anything, or maybe like an air defense. That might be like the best bet for there. Underground's not too bad either. You kind of just focus in the middle, and then both sides. It's like a quiet street situation, except it's a little tighter crunch. Off the Coast, it's a simple one lane advance map, except you can have a water defense here and then have a land defense behind it, either supporting the water defense or acting as its own to back up the water defense kind of ordeal, right? But now we're off to the expert maps, which I've already blackboarded Glacial Trail. Glacial Trail kind of made me a little mad because when you place your defense, right, and then your defense freezes, you panic a lot of the time, like I did, and you place more defense on the same rounds that the other towers have frozen. So eventually it becomes this thing where you're like around 80 and like the ZOMG comes out, but it's too late because all your towers are now frozen and you're scrambling to try to find something to not only pop the ZOMG layer, but clean up its children as well. So it's just like, holy shit. So for a lot of the hard and the expert, what I did, or not like hard and impossible, what I did, Ethan Reed had a challenge to where it was an advanced challenge. It was like round 10 to like 80 something that was on this map, and I used that defense the whole time, and it worked out perfectly. Dark Dungeons is a sniper's worst nightmare. Sanctuary makes it's very Sanctuary, all these things move, so it's like you really have to plan where they're gonna be at. So either you want stuff that has like large range or just unlimited range, which luckily there's no like sight blocking here, so it's very well, so you can just use unlimited space, except you're very restricted on space too. That is another thing, and your water is very, very limited. Ravine is a fucking nightmare. Flooded Valley, not so much. The thing about Ravine, though, if I look back at it, no joke, land, 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 land. That's all you get. It is so crazy, right? This map is so ridiculous. That sword right there, that you see, that little tiny sword, that, no joke, you have to use that for chimps. Otherwise, you cannot beat chimps. Well, before you couldn't, but now you might be able to now with like a good enough strat or something. I don't know. I haven't watched a strat in a long time. But Flooded Valley is simple. You can just spam water towers, and then you can also hit this like button thing and flood the other side as well. So that is just both sides just hammering in. Inferno, not too bad. I think it's more like an advanced map. You just unlimited space towers yet again. Bloody Puddles. This map is not nearly as bad. I mean, Muddy Puddles and Bloody Puddles are kind of the same thing, except this has 5 lanes with 2 lanes being actively used, while Muddy Puddles is 4 lanes with 1 lane being in use. That's all it really is. It just goes back and forth, while Bloody Puddles, it kind of meets in the middle and then back out, middle, back out, middle, back out on both sides. So Quad is essentially, my keeping up nightmare, because I want to focus my defense one way, but there's all these balloons coming from the other way as well. So you have to split up your defense, or you just have to like keep it circular, so you're hitting everything at once. Dark Castle is the easiest kind of map in here, because you can just focus all your defense here and be fine. And Ouch. Ouch is essentially just focus all your shit here. You can drain this, but focus it all here in the middle. So yeah, that's about it. I kind of just wanted to explain. I didn't really explain like my opinions on it, just where to put a defense. So yeah, sorry about that. See ya.